How do you stop overthinking?
You don't. You're an overthinker or you're not. I can't sleep at night because I'm thinking too much. I wake up and if the wrong thought catches me, I'll be awake. I don't try to stop overthinking. The only way to numb overthinking is over drinking, sleeping pills, a bunch of crap that I'm not into.
So just keep thinking until you beat the overthinking.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. Just if you're an overthinker, good. It's a superpower. Yeah.
And what's like maybe a 15-second tip? No, you don't like them, but a tip for good mental strength.
You know, when I was growing up and when you were growing up, people used to say this, and I really took it for granted, and so did you probably, and so did most people here, because we're all of a similar age. Eat your dinner. There are children starving in Africa. You know, nowadays it's Syria or some other country. And, you know, you say that to kids, and kids don't really take it in. They're like, yeah, fine, I might eat my dinner, I might not. Mental strength, for me, comes from the knowledge that so many people have it so much worse. And who am I to be crying about my situation? When I was in jail, this is already off the news and everyone's forgotten about this situation. People still talk about me being in prison. That's still national news. But let me tell you something. At the time I was in jail in January, February, 2022, earthquakes happened in Turkey. They're still rebuilding. No one cares. That's off the news now. Everyone's forgot about it. But I was in that prison cell looking up at the TV at these fathers and mothers screaming and crying because they couldn't find their kids. Kids running around, where's my parents? These people were dead, by the way, because the death toll was absolutely massive. And I was like, okay, hear me out. I'm worth loads of money. I won't say the number. It's loads. My mom, my daughter, everyone I care about is completely taken care of. All these cars, all this money, all these, life's good, I'm healthy. Okay, I'm in jail. So what? They can trade my places with me in a second if they could have their families and everything completely healthy. They'd sit in jail, especially every man would sit in jail happily for the rest of their lives to have what I have. So yeah, I don't break because who am I to break? Things are going pretty well for me. I owe it to the people out there who watch me, who believe in me, to not break. When Sam Smith, and I don't know why I'm saying this guy's name, during the COVID lockdowns was crying on video in his 15 million pound mansion, this is so hard. I was like, who is still a fan of that guy after this? Everyone was going through the same crap in England, but you're sitting there in a 15 million pound mansion crying on the internet about how hard your life is. I will never be that guy, ever. My life is great. Jail, life's great. Something bad happens to me, I lose my arm. Life isn't the best, but it's still pretty great. So, mental strength, that's the key. There are children starving in Africa.
Some advice I have for procrastinators, because I was shy once. When I was 17, 18, I was shy. It wasn't so much with business networking because I didn't know anybody important, but I was shy to go up and talk to girls and stuff. And without the internet and without dating apps and all the little cheat codes that shy people use and men use now, they're crutches that people lean on, I just understood I'm not going to ever get laid if I don't go up and talk to that girl. So the advice I have for people who are too shy to put yourselves out there, too shy to approach women, too shy to, try to, pitch a business deal to somebody important, then good, have fun staying poor and lonely. Because especially when you're young, it's not easy. And it does take some balls, but just go and do it anyway. The worst that people can do is say no. That was something in my mind, actually. People used to tell me that. Go talk to the girl. The worst you can do is say no. And that was it. Sometimes they'd say no. And that's the way it is.
And the what if will kill you afterwards.
The what if will kill you. The what if will absolutely
pussied out.
So yeah, and if you never are going to learn those skills and you're never going to take a shot in the dark, then good. Have fun staying poor and have fun staying lonely and have fun with your Pornhub subscription. And also, don't be retarded. Like, some people think I'll say this, and some people are so retarded they'll come up to me with like papers and be like, yeah, you said people didn't take the initiative. Here's my business proposal. But I'm like, just leave me alone. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, just if you don't have confidence, fake confidence. Confidence is the one thing you can fake, and people believe you have it. If you I'm shy, go talk to the girl. Okay. If you actually walk up and talk to her, then you're not shy. You've spoken your confidence into existence. So yeah, and a lot of people won't ever do that, and I have no help for them. What could I possibly tell them that's going to fix them? Nothing. But you're going to be lonely and you're going to be broke if you stay that way.
You have to almost look in the mirror and just tell yourself that you are the man.
Yeah,
And you have to believe you are the person that you want to be.
absolutely.
And just by thinking that, then you feel as though whatever situation you're in,
Become it.
that you're supposed to be in the
The person
situation.
I want to be wakes up at 7 and he trains for 2 hours. The person I want to be wouldn't let that pretty girl walk past him without introducing himself and saying hello. The person I want, so okay, good. So you're going to wake up and lay in bed and then not talk to the pretty girl. Then you'll never be the person you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Simple. The main reason for this isn't to be combat ready, as Andrew touched on in a previous video, but it's more to avoid confrontation. Now, me and Andrew are very controversial characters. Almost nobody who knows who we are likes us. You are one of the few people, you are one of the elite, the people who actually understand what we're talking about and like what we have to say, but most people don't. That said, we are never started on in the real world. Now, of course, now we're well-renowned kickboxing champions, but we've always had the same principles and the same body language and the same mannerisms. And we've noticed that people do not start on us very often. And the best way to avoid conflict and to avoid combat is to be perceptive. There was a very famous experiment actually done in India where tiger attacks on Indian miners were completely going crazy. The numbers are through the roof. And you can look this up, please look it up. And the solution they came to avoid tigers attacking the miners, was these miners would take human-faced masks and wear them on the back of their heads. So they'd do their mining, go down in their boats, drive around in their trucks, be out in the open with this mask on the back of their head. And if you look it up on Google Images, for sure you'll be able to find exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see that the masks look stupid. It looks ridiculous. It was only a very minor touch that these guys thought about the problem and actually applied something. But tiger attacks essentially dropped to zero. Now men, very much like tigers, are big pussies too. I just thought of that. I didn't actually write this. But what you'll find is everyone's a coward and no one wants to fight one-on-one. So even if there's only two of you, your body language, how you stand, and where you place yourself can be a massive deterrent to being started on or having any kind of physical confrontation. Now in school, they teach you things like a strong handshake. And I'm sure the basis of this is in every single course or guide to body language in the world, but they teach it for the wrong reasons. In school, I was taught that a strong handshake makes the person who I want to employ me like me more or take me more seriously. But you could convey many different expressions and emotions with something as simple as a handshake. If I'm in a room with a group of people who may or may not be hostile, the standard good handshake they'll teach you to give with the right expression on your face can also mean, don't fuck with me. It can say, I'm stronger than you. It could say, I'm not a pushover. These are things that people don't think about because it's never taught. Everyone's taught how to shake hands, to say, please employ me, please give me a job. But many other things can be conveyed with just a handshake. Now, when me and Andrew are out in public, we're always watching each other's backs. Now, paranoia isn't cool, it isn't sexy, and it isn't really alpha to be paranoid all the time that somebody's going to start on you. I know people who walk through the world in this way. They're scared of everything and everybody. The police, the person walking behind them, they're jumpy. That's not what I'm talking about, and that is not the way men like me and Andrew behave. When I talk about watching each other's backs, it's the small things that me and Andrew do that people who hang around with us pick up on. You guys at home won't see these things because they're never recorded and they're never on camera. Me and Andrew always sit, for example, across the table from one another, just in case somebody decides to come up from behind and attack us. It's very much like the tiger analogy, wearing the mask on the back of your head. I am his other set of eyes. If Andrew's on a date with a beautiful woman and I'm sitting with my back against the wall and I can see what's going on behind Andrew, Andrew can relax. Andrew can have his good time. He can not worry about looking over his shoulder because, me and Andrew do have a few enemies everywhere, including the city where we live. This doesn't just apply when you're with somebody else, but it can very much apply to yourself. Are you by yourself? Are you in Starbucks getting a coffee, about to do some work on your laptop? Fine. be very careful about where you sit. Choose somewhere where your back is against the wall. Like right now, I'm sitting in a corner. I can see everything that's going on in the room in front of me. This is the place you want to sit. Not because you think somebody's going to come up and attack you, not because you are scared of assailants or muggers or robbers. Just being able to see everything that goes on in the room gives you the chance to react to situations. I guarantee if you were to look at some of the violent, crazy things that have happened in Europe, from bombings to terrorist attacks in the last few years, some of the people who survived because of where they were sitting. And it wasn't chance. A few of the people, I'm sure, were self-aware enough to be perspicacious about their environment, to sit in the corner, to watch what's going on, to be able to react to the environment around them. Now, when I see people with headphones in, slouched over a table with their coffee, typing away on their laptop, and the whole room's behind them and they're facing a wall, they look like a target to me. You don't have to be a tiger to know that that person is a target. If anything goes down in that coffee shop, if anything goes down in that restaurant, that person is going to be one of the first to die. So watch each other's backs and sit across the table from one another, always. I have had people who I've invited over to Eastern Europe who assume that me and Andrew are the kings of everywhere we go. Mostly because me and Andrew are very adept fighters and we can handle ourselves very well. But you need to understand, in most situations from Western Europe to Eastern Europe, when you go to very expensive, exclusive places, nightclubs, first-class lounges at airports, the people around you are your equals or your betters in some respect, financially or something, in one way or another. Now, if I'm in a club and I'm sitting in the VIP section, there are 6 tables only in an entire club that has maybe 2,000 people in it. I know those other people are somebody's too. Very rarely will a club just let some loser in to sit around and drink their super expensive alcohol, and even then it's a promoter who knows people or who's friends with the owner or something like that. Now, me and Andrew hang out in Eastern Europe a lot, so watching each other's backs isn't just actually viewing your surroundings and knowing what's going on around you, your self-awareness. It's also how you interact with the people who surround you. To give you an example, if I sit down at a table and there are 3 or 4 dudes, a number of dudes who outnumber us to my right. Now, this has happened plenty of times where there are 6 or 7 girls on my table. Now, how you assert yourself is going to determine whether or not those guys try to roll up on your women. You're only 2 guys, you're with 6 girls. They assume that these girls are friends of my girlfriend. They don't know I'm fucking 3 and Andrew's fucking 3. So of course it's natural and normal for other guys to at least think about talking to the girls who've come with you to the club. That doesn't happen to me and Andrew because of the way we assert ourselves. What you'll typically find is the most confident amongst them works as a scout. We'll say hi, we'll say, can I borrow a lighter from one of the girls? When that happens, always ask the girl if she's okay afterwards. I do it all the time. A guy will be like, excuse me, do you have a lighter to one of my girls? I'll say, hey, you okay? And touch her arm gently so the guy says, oh, I was just asking for a lighter. No problem, my friend. Handshake, eye contact. You know, you have to assert, don't fuck with me, with the initial contact with the guy. If I just turn my back and ignore him after the lighter's been borrowed and he gives it back, he's going to say, where are you from? Who are you? What's up? You know, you have to cut things off the moment they happen. You have to nip it in the bud. So the way you conduct yourself within your own group of people will stop others trying to come over and invade your space. So the key is always to put yourself in a position of power. Don't just sit down and start guzzling away on drinks. I don't typically sit next to Andrew and talk away and let our girls mind their own business. We're mixed in with them, 2 or 3 girls divided by one of us at any stage around a round table, if you know what I mean. So we're always in control of our group, in control of our herd, if you like. So the way you position yourself lets others know not to creep up on you, not to try to talk to your women, and especially not to start some sort of stupid argument. That said, in clubs also, combat readiness. I always like to keep at least one of my hands free. If my hand isn't free, it's something that can be used as a weapon. Now, I've, in my life, been in maybe 2 fights inside of nightclubs, none of them in Eastern Europe. It's more of an England thing. And I avoid conflict at all costs. But the way you stand can mean the difference between getting your ass kicked and winning a fight. Typically, even if I'm smoking a cigar, the cigar can be easily dropped. I'll keep it in my left hand. My right hand is the hand that I'm going to strike with first. That's where I'll hold my glass, because a glass can be used as a weapon just as much as a fist can be used as a weapon. And I always stand left foot in front of right foot ever so slightly, just so I can't be caught off guard, just so that I'm not off balance, just so that at any one time, with my glass and my cigar in one hand, if someone approaches really quickly, which is how these things always start, you're always good to throw a strike, throw the glass, or throw a punch. Before people even come over and try to talk to girls you're with, or try to start a fight with you, people will always scout you out. They'll always stare at you for a little period of time. They'll ask their friends, what do you think these two are doing with all those girls? Where do you think these guys are from? So when you catch them looking at you, don't stare them out. Don't put an aggressive look on your face, because that just makes them want to fight you more, especially if you're outnumbered. That's going to encourage a physical altercation. So you don't sit there looking angry at them, and what you absolutely don't do is when they catch you looking at them, look away instantly. That shows cowardice. What I do, I'm a very confident guy, Andrew as well. Keep in mind that when we're in a high-class establishment, the people who are with us are, successful guys, rich guys, mafia guys, dangerous guys. There's somebody to be sitting there. So if I'm holding my drink, typically if I catch them looking and I catch eye contact, I'll just nod at them, or I'll go like this, I'll raise my glass slightly and continue drinking. They'll typically do the same thing back, and that eases all tension. Nobody after that is going to come over and start trying to throw punches to your face. So if you sit confidently and assert yourself just with your eyes and the looks that you give the people around you, you can avoid basically all types of confrontation. No one's going to come over and try and talk to your women. No one's going to come over and try to assault you, try to insult you. You have to set an atmosphere and set a vibe that you're friendly, but you're not to be fucked with. And one more time, that takes me back to the handshake. That's what you need to say when you introduce yourself to people, especially if they come over to your table and try to do something you don't like talk to your girlfriend. Now, I know I may look big and scary, and some people watching may think, oh, well, it's all right for you. You're big and mean looking, so nobody's going to start a fight on you. Nobody's going to want to engage in conflict with you. That's not necessarily true. You can assert yourself with confidence alone. The way you scout the room, everything I was saying earlier, sitting in the corner, watching everybody around you gives you the chance to see exactly what's going on. Now that reminds me of a clip I saw on the internet of a man, I believe it was in Australia, where 10 to 15 guys ran into a bar. I think they were trying to attack somebody or rob the place. I'm not sure what these assailants were doing. But this guy was standing, his back was to a pillar in the middle of the room, so no one could necessarily run up behind him, and he was standing at the bar. He wasn't a very big guy or necessarily scary looking guy, but he stood there with one of his hands on his glass and the other hand completely free. And as each person rushed by him and rushed up to him, he glanced at them slightly. Now the CCTV footage is a little grainy. I can't see exactly how he looked at these people, but he didn't look down at the floor. He didn't stare at them with fear, and he didn't sit there with an angry look on his face. He must have, by process of elimination, 10 guys ran by him, they all glanced at him, and nobody started on him. He must have conveyed some of the tips I've been talking to you about in this video. Now, why does nobody start on this guy? He doesn't panic, he doesn't flee, he doesn't run. That portrays somebody who can handle themselves, certainly. His hands are free, he's calm, he's confident, and he's looking at what's going on around him. The people who rushed into that bar were 10 to 15 individuals. They were not confident men. Nobody who wants to go and rob somebody or attack somebody has to bring 10 to 15 of their friends if they're not cowards. It's like splitting up a pack of sheep. The herd on its own can look intimidating coming towards you, but when you get one on their own, they're absolutely terrified, and that's exactly how this guy handled the situation. He looked at each one of them as a one-on-one situation, a one-on-one, man-on-man confrontation, and when they got that look, and when the guys made eye contact with him, or when they brushed past him, none of those people wanted to fight him. And that's the way the real world is.
What the secrets to success? There is no secret to success. I have the secret to my success. And the secret to my success is different from the secret to everyone else's success. If you take 100 people and put them in a room, all millionaires, all of them worth 10 million plus, and I'm sitting in that room with them, and you come up to the table and say, guys, what's the secret to making money, all 100 people will give you 100 different answers as to how they made money. Which means there is no secret to success. There is no recipe to success. I know the recipe to my success.
So I was 17, I was working at a fast food restaurant making sandwiches. Now, the internet didn't really exist as such, but looking back on it, it was part of my journey. And I regret nothing because I ended up where I am. So would I even go back and tell myself anything is the question. If I had to, it would be to not burn so much of my time. Let's talk to the 17-year-olds who are listening. You know, do you finish your job, come home, play video games, etc.? That's what I used to do when I was 17 a little bit. What I didn't do is come home and think, okay, fuck, let's work on something new. Let's try and build something. Let's start a YouTube channel. Let's start creating content instead of consuming content. I'd tell myself to be a little bit more proactive with my free time and not fuck around so much. Stand yourself in front of the mirror if you are that person. Imagine yourself 30 years older. Imagine yourself fat, out of shape, bags under your eyes, wrinkles on your skin, gray hair. Imagine that man exactly where you are today. And if you don't like it, do something to change it, because it's complacency that damages people. And that's a mix of brainwashing and programming and, your personality. It's a mix of lots of things. But I think growing up really impoverished and looking around at the other adults, who are still I was 16, 17 years old working at McDonald's. I was working with people who were in their 40s and 50s doing exactly the same job as me. And I thought, whoa, this is fucked. I'm going to have to do something. Why are you on this podcast asking me how to stop procrastinating? Turn off YouTube. Go do something. Jesus Christ. What's wrong with people? This is exactly what you were talking about asking a question where you already know the answer to. You know the answer is to stop doing things that waste your time and apply yourself to something important. Now, this may not be a waste of your time, but let me tell you, you're a dumbass, clearly. It's like Googling how to get fit, like you just said. Everyone knows what a push-up is. Do 10,000 of them a day. Stop wasting your fucking time. I've never had to deal with procrastination. I've never had to deal with not being motivated, because what is the alternative? Literally, be a loser forever? There is a way to get revenge on women. Every time I've heard anyone say, oh, my ex broke up with me, she cheated on me, I need revenge. That's sick-minded. That's incel level shit. The only kind of revenge that you can get on a woman is this. Ever. Say goodbye politely. Mm-hmm. Keep working hard. Increase your value as a man. Wait 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, 11 years, and you know this story, the 11-year story. And wait till you are the man. And she's just now some chick, 28, 29. Yeah. And she's like, Tristan, it should have always been you. Then you can either tell her no or break her heart again. Yep. Then you win.
My success was that I trained hard. I was a professional fighter. I've always been confident. That comes from my kickboxing, I guess, which made me good with women. I was good with women, so I always had beautiful girls around me. When I realized that beautiful women could make money on webcam, I'd put various girls on webcam, started making a few dollars here, a few dollars there, until it grew into one of Europe's largest studios. Then I became a millionaire. That is the recipe to my success. Now, go and ask Elon Musk the recipe to success, and he's going to say, invent PayPal and then make space rockets. It's a different game. So yeah, what advice would I give to a young guy? I will give the only advice that I can give. I cannot give any other advice besides what worked for me. Do a lot of physical training, become attractive to women, start a webcam studio. That's what made me a millionaire. That is the secret to my success. There is no secret to success that generally works across the board. Because God knows it's not work hard in school and get a degree.
A healthy body is a healthy mind. Get into shape. Try to look your best. Try to become more knowledgeable. Whether that be watching YouTube videos, watching stuff that my brother or you put out. Just try to understand the world better. Try to understand that you can't just walk through the world as a dork, because the things you desire don't come very freely to dorks. I would like to think that every single young man watching would love to have a beautiful woman. They would, wouldn't they? Beautiful women don't like dorks. They really don't. So look at the things you want from life and look at who you are as a person and think, how can I positively change myself to get the things that I want from life? And I think you're naturally going to come out of your dork state just from doing that. I have no ritual or anything that I actually recommend to men. With younger men, especially the guys who aren't physical yet and they don't have the size and they don't have the money to go to the gym and they don't have the time to do the training. Obviously, Andrew sells his fitness training program, which is all well and good, but a good example I always used when I was younger was do push-ups during TV commercials.
Yeah.
Push-ups during TV commercials was my life hack. When I was young, I was broke. You know, I got to this size. I'm no bodybuilder, but I'm a very big guy. I'm about 240 pounds.
Yeah.
Watching TV is a very wasteful exercise.
Absolutely.
Every time the commercial comes on, do 50 push-ups. If you can't, do 25. Do 10 every time the commercial comes on.
Something.
Yeah, by the time the day's over, you've done 150 push-ups. You know, your arms feel pumped up, your pecs feel pumped up.
What choice do you have, my friend? What do you mean? What happens if you don't deal with the grief? I don't understand. Are you gonna kill yourself? Drink yourself into depression? Ruin your own life? You have no choice. You're on a train track, and you can either change the direction of the train that goes off a cliff, or you can keep it on the track. Time is going to still keep going on, and you are going to be sad. So are you going to be a sad winner, or are you going to be a sad loser? To me, it's very binary. Just because everyone's doing one thing doesn't mean doing the opposite is wrong. Sometimes that's the best thing to do. Life is like a game of chess. You can't take moves back. All you could do is look at the board you're in, look at the position you're in, and make the best moves possible. Women are going to want that Gucci purse. When they get to 16, 17, 18 years of age, they're going to want those shoes. They're going to want those lubes. They're going to want the jewelry. And who's going to give it to them? So become a financially successful man yourself for the sake of your daughters. Because one way or another, she's getting that Gucci purse, my friend. Whether it's OnlyFans, webcam, prostitution, escorting, sugar daddies, or her actual father who loves her and takes care of her. So people who think they're going to hold their household together with traditional values and religious values alone when you're flat broke, believe me, if your daughter's pretty, she ain't going to be broke for long, my friend. And she isn't getting the money from you, and she's not getting it for free either. I am sick of reading shit on the internet saying, yeah, you know, some people are special and they take longer to bloom and your time will come. Let me tell you something. 99.9% of people who are born broke, live broke, stay broke, die broke. That is the reality for almost everybody. The internet and it's all going to come to you at the right time bullshit is fucking a psyop to keep you down. You already know the answer. You don't need me to tell you. Why the fuck are you asking 4 men who do not know you personally how to stop wasting your time? I don't even know what you do to waste your time. You already know the fucking answer. My daughter's going to be raised very differently to my sons. My sons are going to have to work hard for everything they do. I'm going to take care of my daughter within reason. You know, the shoes, the Gucci purse, the nice car. She wants a little Mini Cooper or a Fiat 500 to drive around in. Cool. I'm going to take care of you because you are a member of my family. I am the man in charge of this family, and I am going to provide for you. When you are looking at other men in the world, I'm not going to lock her in the house. I'm not going to say don't date. I'm going to just inform her that when you're looking for other men in the world, you have to understand that when you pass on from this family, that's the man who's going to potentially be taking care of you. Listen, everything's going to plan. Smile. Go live your life. Be a sad winner and not sad loser.
First, you'll get paid for what you do. Then you'll get paid for what you know. And if you get there, eventually you can get paid for who you are. Deal with the consequences of your actions. Me and you and most men are fully aware that we make certain choices in our life. And when we make those choices, sometimes they're hard forks that alter our life in one way or the other. And that's just the way it is. And that's the way life is going to be now. And it's irrevocably changed. So was it worth it? Maybe. If something good comes out of it, then I'm glad it happened. So I've just got to enjoy the ride, I guess. I can't sit here crying every day, can I? So that's why I'm fighting so hard. And I'll continue to fight. But when someone sits there and says, oh, Andrew and Tristan Tate, you know, they come from money. They come from a wealthy family. Oh, they didn't make it all themselves. They got helped out by X, Y, and Z. That offends me. You see, that offends me more than being called any type of criminal. Because, you know, a lie about me will bounce off. But when you are lying in a way that discredits the hard work that I've put in and discredits, I guess, my work ethic and my intellect and everything I put into having the life that I have now, then I get offended. From living in America broke, I moved to England when I was 8. I lived in a homeless shelter for 2 years. It was me, my sister, my brother, and my mother in a single room of a government housing program house. The other rooms were occupied by other families, some of them with drug problems, violence problems. It was very loud. We lived in that homeless shelter for 2 years before we were eventually given a council house. My mother worked as a cleaner, cleaning kitchens. Her hands were always, you know, cut and swollen up. And that motivation of seeing your mother exhausted from working jobs that frankly are beneath her. I don't want my mother scrubbing someone else's floors, washing someone's plates in someone else's restaurant. I didn't want that. So I wanted better for her and my whole family, not just better for myself. And this was way before I even thought of having children. But as a man, I think it's, you know, it was always my job to do better. I knew that I was gifted with something. I knew I could make something out of life. And we never turned to crime, even in the early days, which is actually a very interesting point that I'll go in on for a second. So we started kickboxing. It was enough to pay the bills. We lived in a very bad town, a very rough town. All of your English friends and staff here will know how bad that town is. And back then I would get offers to commit crimes for money. I'd get offers for go and collect money from these people. They owe these dealers money. You're a big kickboxer. You know, protect us when we go here. Maybe move this package A to package B. And I refused every single offer to commit any crime for money. I'd rather spend my time at the kickboxing gym and keep my head down. Growing up poor was a blessing, and I wouldn't change it. Well, every conversation my brother and I have ever had when we were broke somehow revolved around money. And we've run many businesses that did well for a little bit, then failed. We've tried to launch projects using the last of our money.
And you were
that
always
have
doing
failed.
this together, right?
Always together. I couldn't have imagined it any other way. We tried to bring various drinks we liked from Eastern Europe to sell in UK supermarkets, set up meetings, invested all of our last money in this project. Everyone told us no. Failed. We had this idea once to set up a system where people could run, remember those competitions, or win a vacation, text this to this number. We tried to middleman that and allow other people to run text competitions on a premium rate phone line that we set up. And we set it up and tried to market it, lost all of our money. Once again, we were broke eating ramen noodles. So we've tried everything. I mean, we've done all sorts of failed and successful businesses over the years. And I think it was just persistence that got us there. A lot of people are going to get, kicked in the nuts and take a fall, and they're going to let it beat them down. Andrew's lost very important kickboxing matches. Did he quit fighting then? Did I quit fighting when I got my ass kicked a couple times? No, you don't. You just have to continue, because in life, there are only winners and losers. There are no participation trophies. There's no, stickers and everyone's invited to have a good time. Life is hard, and everyone in life is actually trying to play the same game. If you're a sportsman, you like racquetball, I've heard, for example.
Yeah.
There's a small pool of people who play racquetball, and you have to compete within that pool to be the best, and maybe you become the world champion. There's a small pool of people who compete at kickboxing, professional soccer, and the bigger the pool is, the more difficult it is. Well, life is the only game where every single one of us, 8.1 billion people, is trying to play the exact same game. And the same game is, there's only so much money in the world. There's only so many resources. There's only so much happiness. I'm going to try to provide for my family as best as I can. And whether people say money's not important or is important, everyone's part of this game. So winning is very difficult. And you have to keep trying when you get kicked and you fall down. And that's the advice I give to every young man who listens to me.
I don't like the word failure. Okay? I always looked at it as, if this didn't work, it's a learning experience. How am I going to figure it out and do better the next time? Or, okay, this didn't work, I got to get on to something else. So you have that entrepreneurial spirit and that determination and motivation. That's what started you on this path right now. It's always been work. This is working. And now I got this.
You didn't just get fortunate. I'll tell you, before the internet existed, when you were living that interesting life that you used to live, that everyone wants to hear about, that everyone wants to know the stories on, you didn't realize it at the time, but you were building your online brand then. It's not about fortunate, because if you had done none of the things you'd done, not lived the life that you had lived, you could have tried 1,000,000 times harder to become a face on the internet, and no one would care who you are, and nobody would listen to you. So again, when you say it takes a decade of work, in your case, 4 or 5 decades to become an overnight success, you were putting the work in way before the internet even existed.
No,
so
you're right.
It wasn't fortunate. It was, it may not have been 100% purposefully done, but it was done, and it was done the right way. I used to work in a McDonald's drive-thru. I'm not ashamed of myself. I made hamburgers. Proud of it. You got paid for what you do, paid for what you know, and now you're getting paid for who you are. And you deserve it because you've been through all the hardships that's created the person who's I guess sitting in front of me. I want every fan of mine to build a life like me and end up in the position I'm in. I'm trying to drag people up, not bore them or, talk garbage or encourage them to play video games or do drugs. I'm trying to drag all the young people up, needing to make money because my mom was working. I didn't just sit home and think, oh, well, she is my mom, this bitch better work. Did I? I thought, this is unacceptable that I'm as smart as I am and my mother's cleaning people's kitchens. I'm going to take care of my mother.
Right.
She flies on private jets now and always will, whether they put me in jail or not. It's in God's hands. And like I said, they can't make me care. They can't scare me. They can't bully me. They can't make me cry. They can't make me break down. They can't make me plead guilty to something I didn't do. I'd rather just go to jail because everyone I love is fine, jail or not. So, and that's, I guess, the side effect of being a hardworking, smart individual who set his life up in the right way. I ain't scared of prison.
My dad dying was the hardest part for me and Andrew to go through ever. But what you have to understand with things like that is you don't actually have a choice. People say this all the time, like, how did you deal with that? It's like, well, what was my alternative? Bring him back to life? There is no way out of it. So you can either, and people say this all the time, oh, my mother's got cancer, she's going to die in 6 months. What do? I say enjoy the next 6 months with her. As much, like, there are lots of situations in life where your hands are tied. So with dad dying, it was a simple matter of, okay, you can let this destroy you, which is an option, and people do this all the time, drink themselves to death, I don't know, start cutting themselves, whatever stuff people do to cope with difficult situations, or you can be sad anyway, because you're sad either way, and work 18 hours a day. And in fact, I said that the time I was working the most, when I was around 27, 28, I think he died when I was 27. So you can work 18 hours a day, not let anything distract you, and stay focused on the mission, so that way you have less time to think about it, and you can be sad while you're working. And then, you know, when you start to come to terms with everything, you've got millions of dollars, as opposed to, oh, I've come to terms with everything, but I'm in a rehab clinic. So I think that bad things are going to happen to you. Like, and everyone watching, this is the sad truth of it. Your parents are going to die too. Before you. I mean, most of you. So that is going to happen. So I didn't really see why it was difficult. As much as it was unpleasant, I don't think it was difficult because there isn't a way out of it. So it's the best way I can describe it. Every single second that you're scrolling on your phone or looking at Instagram, etc., there are dudes out there, you know, even so much as selling little coaching calls or courses, or, you know, who you'd want to be like. But it's easy. It's easier to sit around and play video games and masturbate than it is to get the money to buy real supercars and seduce beautiful women in the real world. It is much easier. And because it's easier, I feel like a lot of people don't want a way out. So I don't need to give them advice. I feel like the advice is out there. If you're watching this and that describes you, good. At least you're listening to people with a healthy mindset who maybe can inspire you a little bit to try to be like that. But the old saying of, you know, you become the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most, that's older than the internet. That saying, it predates the internet. But essentially it means the 5 people who influence you the most. And, you know, if you do live alone, or if you don't have many friends, or you don't have a big group of people, what you're watching and what you're listening to influences you massively. So yeah, cut the crap out. Exactly the same with a healthy diet. It influences your health. A healthy mind is exactly the same thing. Scrolling up and down Netflix, watching trash all day is not going to get you anywhere, literally, ever. Whereas, you know, you might hear a piece of advice in a podcast, in this podcast, that, you know, makes you wake up and think, you know, I actually need to get my shit in order. Stop trying to live like the man unless you've actually become the man first. And that means women, stop trying to get laid all the time and get beautiful women. Because if you are a nobody, the time and effort it's going to take into convincing a really beautiful woman to go to bed with you is much less time than it would take me or Mike, because we are a somebody already. So you're burning your hours. Yeah, don't chase women too much. Don't chase having fun too much. Don't chase clout too much. Don't try to be seen in cool places that you can't actually afford to be in. But yeah, people pretend too hard today. And the effort it takes to pretend short term will make you look richer or cooler or more successful than you are. But if you take all the time that you spend pretending and actually invest it into trying to become what you're pretending to be, you'll get there. But it will take, again, 3, 4, 5 years. And
like anything in life, whether it's becoming a father or, you know, losing your dad and having your mom to take care of, everything can be a source of inspiration. Everything can be used to either stoke that fire or put it out. The woman example you gave earlier, you can meet a woman who wants a good life and wants a good family with you, and you can think, I'm going to work twice as hard. And being the source of inspiration for young men has made me, I guess, focused more on not slipping up. Now I can't fail. I can't fail because I'm not letting myself down. If me and Andrew failed, if me and Andrew, I don't know, sank into depression and developed a drug habit and checked ourselves into rehab, the typical celebrity journey, because the pressure is real up here. I feel like I'd let so many people down. Not that that would ever cross my mind anyway. I'm a very mentally strong person, but it's just more responsibility. And I like the responsibility. It makes me smarter. It makes me train harder. It makes me work harder. So I appreciate all of my fans in that way because they're inspiring me. I can't let everybody down. Most young people don't realize how rich they are. Money can't buy everything. And when I was 18, I was richer than I am today. In some ways, I still had my father, for example. So I had no money, but I could call my father anytime I liked and talk to him and shoot the shit and just talk about life. Maybe I wasn't looking for advice. He didn't have much money. He couldn't give me advice on making money, but he was a very smart man. And regardless if the conversation was useful or not, I could have spent more time talking to him, and I didn't. You assume that the things that you have when you're young are going to be around forever. You assume you'll never die. Your health will never fade. Your parents aren't going to go. You assume all these things and you live every day like every day is going to be the same. But if you're young, appreciate how wealthy you are. I mean, there are children in Palestine right now with no family at all dead. And they're in the world at 8, 9, 10, 12 years old, going to have to make it alone, with the help of some of my charity helps a lot of these kids out when possible. But yeah, if you got both parents, a good home, food to eat, you're very lucky. Enjoy that wealth while it lasts. Any young person to sit there whose life isn't going right, who had a failed relationship, they're 21, working a dead-end job, but to see on the internet, don't worry, some flowers take longer to bloom, you're going to make it one day, your time will come, and going, okay, great. Sigh of relief. My time will come, the internet said so. If you buy into that, you deserve to be poor forever. Like, panic mode is the best mode to be in. Things aren't quite right, life sucks, my girlfriend just left me, can't pay my rent, panic mode. The internet, some flowers take longer to bloom, my time is gonna come, panic.
Nobody wants to do the work. It's like getting into shape, as I'm sure you know. It's, when guys are, fat and they're like, oh, well, you get women because you're in shape. It's like, well, you could be in shape, but for you, it's 2 years. It's 3 years, Are you willing to do that? The same is with your finances, the same with your mindset, the same with lots of things. So yeah, if you do the work, the women do naturally come to you, but it's years of work and everyone wants a quick fix.
I think it just comes down to how bad you want it. And I don't have any magical spell to give people to make them want it as much as I wanted it. But I feel like most men want the same things. Most men want money. Why? Not all men want fast cars. Not all men want $55,000 layers or expensive tailored suits. But, money gives you the ability to take care of your family, to take care of your friends, can buy you the best health care. When I say money doesn't buy health, sure. Rich people and poor people can both get incurable brain cancer and it can kill you. However, if you get a normal form of cancer or you need a surgery like I needed on my shoulder, and I can go to the same surgeon who did Conor McGregor's leg and Roger Federer's elbow to get the best quality healthcare. Money does buy health, and rich people do live longer. So you need to just want it. And if you can't force yourself to do it, then I can't force you. It's very, very hard to make changes, even to yourself. If you think, like I've thought many times in my life, I need to change this aspect of my life. I need to party less. I need to sleep less. I need to work more. I need to train more. I need to make more money. I need to spend more time with my daughter. Whatever it was in life, adjusting your lifestyle to make changes in yourself is difficult. Not everybody can do it. So if you understand how difficult it is to make changes to yourself, you have to understand it is impossible to make changes to somebody else. If somebody else really isn't going to do it and really doesn't want it, they can listen to my emergency meetings for the rest of their life, 24 hours and 1 minute a day, and it won't change what they actually do.
Yeah, it's like when you tell a smoker to quit smoking, but they're not going to do it until they want to help themselves.
Exactly.
It's just bad habits like that. They can only change according to when they want to do it.
Exactly.
When it works for them.
So I just give the positive message out there that anything is possible if you do the work. And if you don't want to, I don't give a shit. I don't know you, people at home. I don't. If you stay broke, it affects me zero. But please don't, for the sake of yourself. It doesn't help me. But just don't do it. It sucks.
Well, it's not about worried. I have had wonderful girlfriends in the past who I trust very much. I do not allow my girlfriends to have guy friends. I don't allow them to. And they have to choose if they want to be with me or if they want to keep their guy friends. And that's a line that I draw. And
really? Why is that? Just wondering.
Well, there's no, you have to understand, there is no platonic friendship in a man's mind with an attractive woman. You may think there is. So you may, and this is an experiment I've pulled with, so I encourage you to do the same if you ever feel brave enough and you feel like losing some of your guy friends. It's an experiment that I pulled with many girls. I said, oh, this guy, no, I've known him since I was 15. He's like my brother. I said, no, he's not like your brother. To you, he's like a brother.
But not
this much opportunity and he will jump at it. And they're like, no, I mean, you know this. But younger girls, they don't know this. They're young and naive. They're like, no, really, he doesn't like me. He has a girlfriend, actually, as if that justifies it. And I should let her hang out with this dude. So I say, okay, let me send him one message from your phone. Just one. And I send the typical, you know, that Tristan's been treating me badly and you're the guy who's always been there for me. Did you ever have some kind of interest? And it's always, oh my God, I love you. I was waiting for this message. And then they can't talk to him anymore. So I don't let them have guy friends because I would if the guy was actually their friend. So if a girlfriend of mine has a gay friend, cool, go out with your gay friend. He doesn't want it. He's not going to try to fuck you. That's cool. Yeah, that's a guy friend because he's actually your friend. There's no such thing as guy friends. Don't even pretend that you don't know this because I saw you smiling when I was saying it. You give this much opportunity to any of your guy friends. Believe the sad fact of the world that we live in is not everybody plays by the rules of society. And the fact of the matter is, a friend is somebody you can trust. I can trust my friends. If I'm out with my friends and one of my friends, say, gets too fucked up drunk, I'll carry his dumb ass home. I'll shout at him the next morning. But I mean, we don't really do that. Well, when I was younger, we used to get fucked up drunk, I guess. You know, a friend is someone you could trust. Can you get blackout drunk at your guy friend's house and pass out? I mean, you should be able to, but he's not really your friend if you can't trust him. So you shouldn't get yourself, you can't put yourself into any situation with somebody you can't trust. And that's why I don't allow girlfriends of mine to have guy friends. So I know in America, to American women, it sounds strange, but my logic at least is solid. You can't fault my logic.
How do you deal with procrastination and laziness?
Why are you asking me that question? Why are you on this podcast asking me how to stop procrastinating? Turn off YouTube. Go do something. Jesus Christ. What's wrong with people? This is exactly what you were talking about asking a question where you already know the answer to. You know the answer is to stop doing things that waste your time and apply yourself to something important. Now, this may not be a waste of your time, but let me tell you, you're a dumbass, clearly. It's like Googling how to get fit, like you just said. Everyone knows what a push-up is. Do 10,000 of them a day. Stop wasting your fucking time. You know, I've never had to deal with procrastination. I've never had to deal with not being motivated because what is the alternative? Literally, be a loser forever? I am sick of reading shit on the internet saying, yeah, you know, some people are special and they take longer to bloom and your time will come. Let me tell you something. 99.9% of people who are born broke, live broke, stay broke, die broke. That is the reality for almost everybody. The internet and it's all going to come to you at the right time bullshit is fucking a psyop to keep you down. You already know the answer. You don't need me to tell you. Why the fuck are you asking 4 men who do not know you personally how to stop wasting your time? I don't even know what you do to waste your time. You already know the fucking answer. Can we ban this guy from our feed, or do you guys want to hit him up first?
Yeah, no, yeah, you nailed it. Procrastination. I'm not going to try and change who you are as an individual. I don't know you.
Have fun staying poor.
Have fun staying poor. I don't know your genetic makeup. If you were a warrior, you wouldn't be asking that question. So you're either going to become a warrior, or you need to adopt the ways of a warrior, or you need to accept your position in life, which is just to suffer the pain of being a loser forever.
Yeah, get a job at the car wash. Maybe I'll tip you one day.
Correct.
Enjoy.
I agree with what they're both saying on a very, very practical level. Me and Andrew were talking about this on the day, just this morning on the way to lunch, I guess, or this afternoon. Is be imperfect on purpose, man. Like, I always tell people, like, shoot the fucking gun, shoot. And as long as you're aiming in the general direction you're supposed to, no matter what you do the first time you shoot that gun, you're going to have to adjust the scope. So shoot the fucking gun so you know how far you're off. Every business pivots. Every workout plan is going to pivot. Everything is going to change. You have to shoot the gun to know how far you're off, and then you start honing it in, and then you actually have a little bit of positive momentum that'll get your ass up and going. So shoot the fucking gun, miss on purpose, be imperfect on purpose, take action over everything, because you're never going to do it perfect anyway. So just go.
I hope that what these two gentlemen said just now about you being a loser and me staying broke pisses you off.
Yeah.
Because if it pisses you off, you might actually do something. That is actually the blessing that these two just gave you, is pissing you off.
Or I'll see you in the car wash.
Yeah,
I don't care if you turn your life around. I don't know you. I don't care.
There's not many truly, like, if you put effort into the universe, I think it's Newton's second law, right? Equal and opposite force. People always say, oh, I wish I had something to work on. You could work hard on anything. It can be the most jackass thing. You can work hard on, I don't know, fucking whittling twigs. But if you truly work your ass off, it's difficult for it to have a negative impact on your life. Maybe you'll end up with an Instagram page, the best Instagram page on twig whittling. And who knows, right? My point is that it's very hard to find truly negative energy that's directed in a semi-positive direction. It's hard to say, I'm working my ass off for X and it's made my life worse. You know, you're not doing anything, and you're asking the question, hoping I'm going to give you some magical answer that's going to allow you to be motivated forever. But motivation isn't real. Everyone says this. Motivation is not real. Discipline's real. I do not feel like training, but I still train because I'm a disciplined individual. You don't get to go through life only doing the things you feel like doing. Do you know who gets to do that?
Women.
Beautiful women. Beautiful women get to do what they feel like doing. As a man, you have to do the things you're supposed to do. Because what we said earlier is absolutely true. It's player versus player, my friend. Now, if I wake up, I've already got this massive head start over you in life. Nearly every genetic gift, plus all my finances, plus my network. And I wake up and I decide, even though I don't feel like working, I'm going to work my ass off. And you wake up way down there, peon, and you can't be bothered to work. What chance do you have against men like us? You don't stand a chance. You can't get the girl. We'll take the girl off you. We'll bankrupt your ass. We'll kick you out your house. You name it. You don't stand a chance. Now, if you're going to wake up and look in the mirror and understand that you're absolutely not only crushable, that you're a rabbit and that lions exist, and that's not going to motivate you to do something about it, then you're a lost cause. And there's no point in asking us a question. You know exactly what you need to do. If you want to stay killable, then stay killable. But I can't live that way. I would refuse to live that way. It's a disgrace to my bloodline. It's a disgrace to my parents who struggled to raise me for me to be anything other than the best version of myself. That's honor. I have honor to my last name and to my ancestry. It would be disgusting for them all to have fought saber-toothed tigers so I can wake my lazy ass up, jerk off all day, and ask on YouTube how I can stop being a fucking loser. You understand where I'm coming from?
Oh, 100%.
So this is down to you, my friend. And listen, you may feel fired up for 10 minutes after this little talk, but you're not going to feel fired up forever. You need to put systems in place. You need to get discipline. And like Justin says, you need to get an atmosphere of people around you who are going to keep you accountable and not make it easy for you to continue to be a fucking nobody. And then you're going to fix your life. Otherwise, you're going to stay a nobody. That's your problem.
If you were to ask any boy, 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, where do you want to be when you're 25, 30? Where do you want to be? They're going to say, big house, fast car, beautiful wife. That's what they're going to say. Every single one. And slowly, the programming of the Matrix beats this dream out of men. I will tell you a story about me. I don't know, you're probably not old enough, but there was a game called, before Fortnite, before it all existed, the huge game when I was in my late teens, early 20s was Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So I used to play that game. And this is the advice. The advice is hang around with people who see things, people who have a good mindset. I was with my brother and I was like, oh, Andrew, I just completed this round. It's 41 kills, 1 death. That's pretty cool. Andrew looks at me from the couch. I swear to God, looks over and goes, yeah, Tristan, but it doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter, does it? And I turned that game off. And I don't think I've ever spent more than 10 minutes playing a video game ever since that day. So hang around better people. You know, if you're wasting your life, if you're wasting your talents, leave that group of friends. Cut low quality people out of your life. And slowly, as you go out into the world and apply yourself at different things that are more useful, you'll probably find out that you're not as useless as you think.
Stop wasting your time. So I was 17, I was working at a fast food restaurant making sandwiches. Now, the internet didn't really exist as such, but looking back on it, it was part of my journey. And I regret nothing because I ended up where I am. So would I even go back and tell myself anything is the question. If I had to, it would be to not burn so much of my time. Let's talk to the 17-year-olds who are listening. You know, do you finish your job, come home, play video games, etc.? That's what I used to do when I was 17 a little bit. What I didn't do is come home and think, okay, let's work on something new. Let's try and build something. Let's start a YouTube channel. Let's start creating content instead of consuming content. I'd tell myself to be a little bit more proactive with my free time and not around so much.
And being a gentleman is very, very important. There doesn't have to be a winner. When you're going on a date with a woman and you're looking to sleep with her and she's looking to have a good time, you could both go home happy. You really can. You don't have to feel like you defeated her somehow or you tricked her somehow, and she doesn't need to feel like she used you somehow. You can have a wonderful evening. You're nice to her. You open the car doors. You know, you buy her a bouquet of flowers. You have dinner. You make love. You go home. She's happy. You're happy. It's down to you. It's personal accountability. And that's what a lot of guys want to throw out the window these days. It's like failing in every business you've ever attempted, and failing to make money, and then blaming capitalism, or failing in every boxing match or every American football game and NFL game you've ever played, and blaming the referees or blaming the rules. No, it's personal accountability and it's personal responsibility. So I think a lot of these guys need to really, really look in the mirror, as I do. And sometimes I look at myself and think, Tristan, okay, you're a little out of shape. Tristan, okay, you've been sleeping too much, you've been partying too hard, you got bags under your eyes, you're letting yourself go a bit, and you have to keep yourself in check. You have to stay at the very top, and if you don't stay at your very top, you're not competitive anymore. Every single species on the whole planet is exactly the same. Every single female of every single species looks at the most competitive males and thinks, those are the ones I want to have my children. And women, human women, are exactly the same. So if you're not having the success with women that you want, don't go out there trying to blame women, and don't go out there trying to change them. And what people don't want to hear is that to become Tristan Tate was a slow process of hard work that took me 15 years. And I'm still working on myself. I think the Tristan Tate in 3 or 4 years is going to be a much better version of who I am now. And what a lot of people want to do is, blame their circumstances. But they don't understand that. I mean, height aside, you could change every circumstance about you. You could change how handsome you are. You could change how fit you are, how strong you are, how rich you are, how smart you are.
I am very fortunate. I don't know what loneliness feels like. And that's something that most men can't say. And it's why me and my brother, when we understood through meeting very good friends of ours who were married for 10 years, felt alone. Ex-military guys who felt that sense of brotherhood and loyalty and companionship in the army, or on their sports team, their college baseball team, their fraternity, their football team, and they lose it. Those are the guys who opened my eyes to how special the relationship I have with my brother is. And that's what I try to tell the world as well. I don't know what loneliness feels like. I was born in a very underprivileged family. I grew up absolutely broke. I didn't have I wasn't dealt the best hand, but there was always an ace up my sleeve. So I don't know what that feels like. I've always had companionship. I've always had someone who had my back, someone to fight with me, someone to work with me in terms of my brother. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the journey to the top for me necessarily was lonely. But let me tell the young men out there, you need to be able to identify low quality friends and cut them off, and curate the people around you into a group of winners, a group of men who want to go out there and achieve the same things as you. And the journey to the top not only won't be lonely, but it will be far easier.
But I do get asked the question by young men a lot, and it's always about making money. You mean you want to get rich? Cool. Let me tell you something. First and foremost, almost no one ever gets rich. The internet will preach all this, your time will come when the universe thinks it's right and all this. No. Most people work their shitty job, live their shitty life, live their shitty old age, and then they die. Most people never ever get rich. They never get to live like Sterling. And that's the reality for most people. So, first of all, understand that. Second of all, and my advice is non-advice. If you took 100 people, 100 millionaires at random, and put them in this room, and you asked all of them, how do you make $1 million? You're going to get 100 different answers. Elon Musk would say, I invented PayPal. And Jeff Bezos would say, I sold books online. Like, you're not going to get a definitive answer. So what do you think? Not necessarily what do you enjoy. Do what you enjoy, because most of what you enjoy won't get paid. What do you think you could be good at? Sit and analyze yourself. What do you think you could be good at? Ask yourself that. I don't know you. What are you good at? Think about what you think you could do, and answer the question to yourself. I can't tell you. That's my advice. Like, look where money is moving and stand in the way. I know a dude when I was trying to buy a part for my car. He was like, I know someone who's got car parts for something cheaper. He heard I had a problem. He heard I was going to spend money on a car part. He jumps in the middle, probably made himself $1,000. I don't care how much he made. He saved me. Look where money is moving and get in the middle. That's a good starting position.
I never wanted to be a multimillionaire. Andrew once said to me, famously, Tristan, if we could just find a way to make like 50, 100 pounds a day from home, that would alleviate a lot of our problems. Start small, because as you climb the mountain and you reach where you wanted to reach, you realize that there are new mountains to climb. There are new mountains to climb for me right now. And I'm at a level that a lot of people can't even dream of getting to. But you see it. It opens new doors when you accomplish the goals that you're aiming for. And it opens your eyes to what's possible from there. So don't think I want to be a multimillionaire. Think, okay, I want some financial independence. I want to work 20 hours at the fast food store instead of 40, but supplement my income from home. Okay, I've done that. Now I have more free time. Where do I go from here? I've reached that mountain. I've seen what's possible and aimed higher. That's it. So don't think how am I going to become a multimillionaire. Think of your short-term goals. Make sure your mother works less, buy yourself some nicer clothes, live in a better apartment, and think of how you can make those things happen. And as you go up in value as a man, you'll learn a lot about yourself, and from then you can tackle bigger goals.
No, I don't believe in when people say if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't tell him anything because I like where I am today, and I feel like any cheat code I could have given myself or any little leg up I would have given myself means I wouldn't have learned the lessons to grow into the man that I became. I tell myself to call my parents more. Call your dad more, call your mom more. That's it. Besides that, nothing. I wouldn't change a thing.
That's good advice, though, for you.
I made a bunch of stupid mistakes, said a bunch of stupid things, did a bunch of crappy jobs, wasted a lot of time. Done it all, but
don't regret it.
That's why I am where I am. That's why I am who I am. So I don't regret any of it, ever.
That's true. We just asked Andrew, we're like, who are the 5 people, alive or dead, if you could sit with? But I mean, it's a quite thought-provoking one. It's a little bit loaded, so.
That is thought-provoking. Who would I sit with? Marcus Aurelius.
Oh, I love him. I read Meditations many times.
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Is that the one-eye guy?
No, that's Horatio Nelson, but he might be at the table as well. Horatio Nelson is the one-eye guy.
Napoleon? Who's Napoleon?
Napoleon Bonaparte was the French emperor up until 1815, during the Second Restoration.
Now, what was his?
Greatest general of all time. Won more land battles than any general in human history. More than Alexander the Great, more than Julius Caesar, more than all of them put together. More than Hannibal Barca, more than everybody.
Interesting.
Who else? If I had 2 more people to sit with, alive or dead. Genghis Khan of the Mongol Empire.
Yeah, that guy's
and besides him, one more. Maybe a very interesting dinner conversation. Well,
you'd fit in. I think you'd fit in.
Professor Stephen Hawking. I like to speak to somebody that much smarter than myself. I don't meet people, I mean, I'm not bragging, but day to day when I walk around the world, I never meet someone and think, wow, this guy's so much smarter
That's
than me.
true.
Whereas Professor Stephen Hawking was the next level of intelligent.
I don't even understand what the guy would say.
He's got his computer voice, he could speak.
No, I know he can speak, but I feel like we're not understanding the words. I've heard him speak before, but his vernacular is his vocabulary is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, he talks about crazy scientific.
Yep. So probably those 5 people. But I think it would be more interesting to have 5 different dinners, one-on-one with each of them, as opposed to having a mixed conversation.
Yeah. Do you think that in life, if you're trying to be very successful, you should go the Elon Musk route, which is many fucking businesses that are super different, or do you think you just pick one business and just go really hard
I think different things work for different people.
Right.
Different things work for different people. I think for that, as long as you're playing to your strengths, that's what you should do. I mean, there are people, let's take Floyd Mayweather. I've heard people laugh at Floyd Mayweather, be like, oh, Floyd Mayweather, he can't even read and write properly. And I'm like, well, he became a billionaire, and still, so how dumb is he? If you're broke, saying, oh, Floyd Mayweather can't read or write, and he became a billionaire through not just fighting, but obviously owning his own promotions company, again, it's intellect applied to the real world. Does he have the same type of intellect as Elon Musk? No. Albert Einstein that once said, if you measure all the animals' intellect by their ability to climb trees, you'll have a goldfish in a bowl who will sit and believe his whole life that he's an idiot. You're measuring people on different
with
things.
the wrong test.
Yeah, so I mean, people like Floyd Mayweather, again, it's intellect applied to the real world. So how is he not smarter than some brokey sitting at home being like, Floyd Mayweather's dumb? Is he dumb?
His boxing intellect, I guess, if you analyze...
You have to be super smart too. You have to be a next level of intelligent to box like he is.
He's making millions of decisions every millisecond while he's tired, while he's getting hit.
Yeah, so again, that's a real case of intellect applied as well. I don't see how anyone could call him stupid.
Facts.
There are lots of people online, lots of haters who will say to people like me and Andrew, oh, you two are just dumb, you're new money, you're this, you're that. I'm like, well, I've done all right, haven't I?
Yeah.
Plus, I think new money is a compliment.
Right. What do you do, or what can you do to free your mind from all of it? Because right now, I guess you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. What's your way of freeing your mind or relaxing or?
I've worked my whole life to build a countenance in myself where I can handle the weight of the world on my shoulders. I don't think you can throw somebody who's unprepared into the kind of situations that I've been thrown into and then just deal with it. I don't think people are born like that necessarily, but I've built myself up over the years, I'm a very smart guy, I'm very strong, I'm physically fit, I'm mentally capable. So when I find myself in a situation like this, I think, okay, well, if I can't handle this, then who can? So, and what choice do I have? What does not handling it look like? Hang myself, shoot myself,
start taking drugs, drink myself to death like a lot of people would do, start crying my eyes out all the time, develop drug addictions. No, I can't do that. So I don't have a choice. So I only know how to deal with things one way, like a professional.
Yeah.
So whatever happens to me is whatever's going to happen to me.
Interesting. So I guess you don't journal or meditate. You right?
Not really.
No journaling?
Nah, not really.
No,
I don't journal, I don't meditate.
But I guess, I mean, exercise is meditative in a sense.
It is. It is. People meditate in different ways, you know?
Yeah.
Spend time with my daughter, train. There are things that I do.
You're a family man, huh? I see the videos of you with your daughter. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to take you away from her.
Exactly. For years. For what? For nothing. These people don't really care. These people are truly evil. I think the people who attack me and Andrew, they might not like everything I say, which is good.
Fine, fair enough.
I would hate to live in a world where everyone thought exactly like me.
Boring.
How uninteresting would that be and uninspiring? You'd never meet anyone you could have a conversation with or a debate with or have a different point of view, and you'd never learn anything new.
Yeah.
I'll speak to people who know things I don't, maybe I disagree with, and they might change my mind.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
What I don't do is when I disagree with something somebody says, think, okay, well, I hope that person goes to jail. Let me try and use my power to lock them up. I think that is truly evil.
But I feel like in your case, how does it work that you're not resentful to him for not being there?
Well, one, my dad was busy and he had his own shit to do. Two, he made sure I learned all the important lessons about being a man that he had to teach me. And he was not a perfect person and he was not a perfect man. But everything important that he knew that I needed to know about being a man, including, fuck it, son, you're on your own for a little while, you know? I feel like he taught me. So there are people out there who knew him or didn't know him or have read about him who will try to fault him as a person. I'm not trying to say he was a perfect person. I'm trying to say he was an amazing father.
Yeah.
Because you can't argue with results. When you look at where me and Andrew are, again, regardless of what people on Twitter think, we have completely clean criminal records. We're both very, very well accomplished athletes. You know, we're media personalities. We're very financially successful. We help people.
In every
feed
vertical.
People. Yeah. So
success.
So in what way was my dad a bad father? In zero way, if you look at the results.
I guess it's just an excuse that people use sometimes because they're not happy with their current situation. They say, oh, I had this chat dad.
Yeah, it's a crutch that people lean on.
Yeah.
It's a crutch that people lean on, and it's very easy to blame someone else. Whereas I live in a world of complete self-accountability. I think that everything good that happens to me and everything bad that happens to me is my fault, one way or another. So I'm not going to make any excuses for anything that's happened and blame anyone in my life, because you know I'm the master of my own destiny.
Idiot.
Well, I mean, now it's very easy. If I knew everything now that I knew back then.
No, let's say you didn't know, because you could just buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'd buy Bitcoin. Yeah. But I wouldn't do anything differently. I guess to rephrase the question, what advice would I give to the young men of the world today? I would say that the world has become much harder in lots of ways, but it's also become much easier in lots of ways. I mean, me and Andrew have programs like The Real World, the online educational platform. That,
18 ways?
18 different millionaires teaching 18 different wealth creation methods.
Wow.
And there's a health and fitness professor in the group as well. So there's so many resources, I think, at hand for younger people. Not just resources that I have. The internet as a whole is a resource that
information.
I didn't have when I was young. The internet was very new when I was young. I mean, I was still trying to make money in sales by making phone calls through phone books and stuff. So I feel like the world is a lot easier if you're willing to do the work and apply yourself and use the tools available to you. I think that we live in an amazing new world full of, new opportunities and new ways of getting information and applying information. Just take advantage of it. It's the silver lining. Don't waste all your time on social media. Don't sit there scrolling on TikTok. If you were to tell someone in the 1950s, I have a device, it's 2023, and there's a device in my hand, and almost all of human knowledge is contained within this device.
Yeah.
I could find out anything. I can learn anything from this device. Do you think that man from the 1950s would use it to look at photos of cats or whatever people do on TikTok?
That's
or
true,
look at girls pretending to eat digital ice cream? My point is, it's what tools do you have? You have so many more tools than I had when I was younger, and I'm not even that old yet. But take advantage of it and don't be distracted by the poison that can be propagated by the same methods. Don't be distracted by TikTok. Don't be distracted by pornography. Stay away from all of that garbage and use the tools at your disposal. And it's surprisingly easy to be successful if you do that.
Mindset is your key to everything. Absolutely everything. Join the top G's on Patreon.